Welcome to the Facerocker Podcast number 59 this week, joined by Logan, again, chuckling softly to himself, Jon, Karmen, Dez Dolly, the usual ridiculous gang. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Haunted houses. Logan does the...
I think this one through a little bit more.
No, Logan does a little bit of a haunted house recap, Halloween recap, talking about upcoming Thanksgiving stuff.
Freddie takes us on a tour of his Tinder studies.
Oh, yes, my anthropological Tinder studies. Anyway, all that and more waiting for you in just a little bit. By the way, we are doing a survey at podsurvey.com/facerocker. We need your help. Go ahead, fill out that survey. It tells us a little bit about who's listening to this. It'll help us out in terms of how we make this podcast, how we craft it, how we advertise to you guys. Anyway, it's the kind of thing that helps us out immensely if you fill it out. And we understand that you're taking valuable time out of your time to fill out this survey. So we're going to pick 3 winners randomly. We're going to hook them up with a Steam game of their choice, as well as a whole bunch of RocketJump swag. So podsurvey.com/facerocker. Please head on over there, open up a new tab, fill it out real quick. It'll take you a couple minutes, and you have the chance to win some very cool stuff and help out this podcast. Enough of this. Let's get into it. John, you want to bring us in?
I wouldn't know what
Just go. Go.
Hey, you listen to Facerocker Podcast number 468.
That's not true. Welcome to the Facerocker Podcast, John. Good attempt.
John, that was nice.
It was good.
Thank you.
It was cute.
Thank you.
This is Freddie. We're joined by Jon, Karmen,
Co-host Jon, Karmen
Dez
today.
Dolly,
Hey, how's it going?
and Logan Olson back again for
Hey, guys.
more of this madness. John, by the way, you really the audience has really taken a liking to you based on the YouTube comments, and I say that's completely sarcastically. Everyone seems to think you're a dick and they hate you.
Really? Wait,
Really?
really?
Yeah.
Oh, they turned.
They turned very hard on
Is
Jon
there really
Karmen.
enough comments to like?
I was a little mean-spirited with the answers to the questions. I kind of rushed.
What
Ladies
happened,
and gentlemen,
on the last podcast?
well, so
John?
what happened was we were going through some of the VGHS questions, and we answered them, but we also answered them, initially very flippantly. And John was
provided those answers.
Provided those answers.
very
We thought
flippantly.
it was great, but then everyone just sort of hated John. I'm sorry, John.
Wow.
We still love you.
I think we killed you on the internet, John. You're
Oh
dead.
my god! I gotta drink a bunch of whiskey and then read those comments one night. Just kinda...
Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you listen to the
I think
to
he's
the
being
ramblings of
sarcastic.
internet strangers? Logan, good to see you. It's been a while since you and I have been had a chance to catch up and talk.
I know, sad. I invited you to my ties last week. Where were you? What were you doing?
I was hosting.
That was this week, actually.
That was this week. I was hosting, and this is not a thing I usually do, but I was hosting Halo Fest, which was an Xbox event for the release of Halo the Master Chief Collection. They made very sure, by the way, that we said that way. They're like, well, you guys gotta stay on brand. It's Halo : the Master Chief Collection. It's like, can't say Master Chief Collection, can't say Halo Master Chief. It's Halo the Master Chief
Master
Collection.
I have a question about this. So when you do something like that,
Yeah.
I feel like maybe you guys do a few things like this now. Do you feel like you have to be supportive of that brand, like outside of the confines of that 2 hours?
Well, no, I think because here's what it is. Like, I think a lot of it comes down to the reason why they're even bothering talking to us is because they're like, oh, you guys speak authentically and you're not just corporate shills, and that kind of feels weird to say that. But
we will
I'll be honest.
engage in these
Yeah, and
events
I'll be
because they're
honest.
things we are interested in.
yeah, and I'll be honest with it. I'll say
So
things
honestly,
like,
what do you think of Halo?
I think Halo is
series.
the series as a whole. I think that Halo overall did a lot of things interestingly. I think that they're I think that they're control
Very
mapping.
diplomatic, Freddie.
No, I'll get into it. Let me get into it.
Look, I'm very authentic.
Let me get into it.
Halo
Let me get into
is
it. Let me
interesting.
get into it. I have a nuanced man, nuanced opinions.
Okay.
The mapping for first person view onto a analog stick was super good, and still
That's
I think probably
10
some of the
years
best.
ago.
No, I know, but you have to recognize. Yeah, but you have to recognize the first Halo
But it
for
was
that.
that good, bro.
I would argue that their idea of 30 seconds of action follow, that's their design philosophy of 30 seconds of action really gets repetitive.
And let's let's give them one more credit thing. They kind of started the regenerative shield thing, right?
Yep, that's them as well.
That's
so
their jam.
But I would argue properly mapping first person controls to an analog stick is probably one of the most important things that has been done.
First 2 Halo games were
Yeah.
blast.
So what about the last 5 years though? Like Halo, the last 5 years.
Well, did I tell you what happened with Halo 4?
No.
There's this there's this middle ground 2 hours in. Okay, so I was playing it. I was like, okay, Halo, we can do another Halo. See what's going on. I played 2 hours of it. I'm like, all right, this is a good stopping point. I stop. And I'm like, all right, I'm done. The next day I come back to it. I'm like, all right, let's pick up where I left off. And it didn't save. So it's starting me right back at the beginning. I was like,
You were kind of excited because you're like, I get to experience this fun.
no. I was like, I'm not doing this 2 hours again. I've never played Halo 4. Like literally hit that no man's land where I'm like, I'm not gonna just play this 2 hours. I just did that. I don't want to do that. It's gonna take another 2 years before I'm even willing to like look at Halo 4 and be like, I guess I'll go through it.
Was that
again.
the last one? Also, I guess we should also ask. 'cause
There
you
was
guys
Reach after that, right?
Halo Reach was all right. Well, what was the one where you were like a little squad of non-Spartans?
OCDS or something
ODST.
like that.
OSD. That was kind of like a fun squad-based thing, but all this kind of is like in the shadow of Titanfall now. Like I feel
Little
like
bit,
Titanfall
yeah.
A
kind
little
of
bit.
rocked the mic. But did you hear about the new Halo where they kind of just stole all the stuff from Titanfall and then put it in a new game?
Well,
Oh, really?
that's Halo 5. That's Halo 5.
Like the Halo 5,
Guardians.
yeah, they're like, it has all these innovative features like forever sprinting, and you can wall run whenever you
Whenever you want.
I was like, oh, yeah,
okay.
like
Well, I played it. It's basically just like a very fast-paced
Titanfall.
No, because Titanfall's very fast-paced. Arguably, Titanfall's more fast-paced. Because Halo has always been kind of a slowish game comparatively, compared to like Call of Duty, which is much twitchier, and Titanfall, which is up in that sort of speed range. Halo's always been comparatively very slow. I mean, you float around. You jump 10 feet in the air and you float around.
Pick
right?
one. You're going to a desert island. Which one are you taking with you? Halo, Titanfall.
None of them.
Or Doom.
Doom.
Classic.
Original Doom.
Classic. But Doom comes with 7 of your favorite bros and a land
No,
setup.
pick it. I'll open it. I'll open it up. Pick a shooter.
Pizza party.
Pick a first-person shooter.
Forever pizza.
The only one you can ever play ever again. Pick one.
I would take Serious Sam.
Serious Sam.
I'd take Serious Sam.
The headless screamer dudes.
Yeah.
Hey, so as content creators, how do you feel about? I actually don't really know anything other than like one screenshot and you guys bad mouthing it. Maybe this Halo video thing.
Oh, Halo Nightfall's
What's Halo
really
Nightfall?
bad.
What is this?
It's really
Their new
bad.
show.
They have a show.
It's so they had a live action show with executive produced by Ridley Scott, and it's like one of those things where you're like, all right, Ridley Scott, and you guys are pushing Ridley Scott a lot. It's like, how much does Ridley Scott is here? How
What's
much is
his
he
involvement,
here?
really?
And how much is he? It's not that good.
Is it on the internet?
It's on the Halo video thing, and
You
or
need
the
your-
Xbox
you need your
video
Xbox
thing.
video.
Well,
connected to your-
it's just one of those things where they do
next-gen
this. They do
console.
this in the first episode, which is like, okay, they have so much exposition in the first dialogue that they do this thing where they stop telling the exposition, but they cut to another scene with all the same characters. It's just in a different environment, continuing the conversation as just like a way of like spicing up this exposition dump. So first they're like sitting around in like this conference room talking about like what they're gonna do. Then it cuts to them like in a conference room talking about it. And it's like
Then
this
it cuts to a ship in space with like 5 minutes of text superimposed over the screen to fill you in on more of the backstory.
Really?
It's just
It's-
a lot
yeah,
of information. Yeah.
Huge dump. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're a Halo fan, I guess you could. No, I wouldn't even say that if you're a Halo fan. But
So maybe we should keep the space theme alive and talk about the spaceship asteroid landing. I bet
Yeah.
it has that.
That's cool, isn't
Really
it?
cool,
How
right?
crazy is that?
It's pretty crazy.
Did you think it was possible? Like,
Yeah, everything's possible, but like I feel like the problem is like were you guys like did like anybody like drop their glass like holy shit they did it?
no, there is
Like,
no. Yeah, but
no,
there's
I
a
read that it was all the scientists were waiting for the right window of time to press the button to launch the probe because they cannot steer it once it's blasted
so-
off or whatever. And I'm like, they're
300
guys, but
million
you're not gonna
miles
get it.
away.
You're not gonna get
300
it.
million miles
And
away.
they wouldn't know for
ultimate- it's like
7.5 hours.
It's like the
if it hit or
ultimate
not.
ultimate carnival game. We're like, ready, 3, 2, 1, go! Right, you're trying to like
awesome.
spread the needle across the. And by the way, but do you? I don't think that, for example, that 9 months from now there's gonna be a bunch more kids. It's not like the Apollo landings where
Was that a
humanity's
thing with a bunch more kids on the?
united
I've heard
in
about that for some things,
celebration.
but really was like a polo like a real fire starter for couples.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
World War II ending was.
Yeah.
Well, I get that one.
Yeah.
Did the
I don't think this
Apollo
one
landing cause more babies?
Now that you mention it, I did kind of feel a little something when I saw that
But it's pretty cool. I was reading
I saw
about the probe tech. It's pretty awesome.
with like the harpoons that shoot in.
It's got
and shot
harpoons.
in.
It's got retro thrusters that keep it
But
glued.
so the harpoons didn't work, right? It just like launched, like it was like
It had multiple systems.
It was basically designed by like a 13-year-old being like, what would be cool if the send to space? It
only
got
if that
harpoons.
13-year-old was like 1,000 PhDs.
Yeah,
like
that
people in
13-year-old?
the EU.
Albert Einstein.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of bummed out that's not like a national holiday. Like I feel like
Well,
that should
back
be
up.
like
Why
right
would
there
it be a
with, like,
national?
armistice,
Why
because
would it be a
it's
national holiday?
or international
The
holiday. That should be-
Europeans did it.
Yeah, we didn't.
I think
do
it's
it.
a big deal for humanity though to land on a
I
comet.
agree.
Like think
I
about
agree.
200 years ago we didn't even know comets existed. right? Like,
Yeah.
We thought it was just God sneezing across the night
it's
sky.
true. Who's that one guy who like discovered all the comets? He was like the guy who like started building the super giant telescopes.
Kepler?
No, we're not. I'm not gonna like Haley. It's not Haley.
Galileo?
Huh?
Who
No.
are we talking about?
No, there was a guy during
Hales-
during
Halley's
the age
Comet?
of, during the Age of Wonder, like the 18th century. He was this dude who was obsessed with stars, and he actually started polishing his own mirrors and started building some of the biggest telescopes of his time. And he was like the guy who documented all the comets. I might have just made all that up.
Yeah, it's just this fictional European
Sounds like a
man.
movie.
So, guys, I kind of want to give you. Last time I was on here, I think we had a little bit of a snack debate.
We did, and that was proved to be a
that's-
quite
yeah.
popular debate.
Yeah.
So
I got a little bit of a snack update for you.
Yeah, a little snack, ladies and gentlemen.
Snack
update coming at you
with Jay
from-
Logan Olson.
Well, so I think it was Benji who recommended Zaps.
That was me.
Oh
All
yeah,
the way.
dude. So I've been rocking the Zaps.
Dude, where are you getting them? I don't know where to find them.
There's this place in Kenneth Village called Art's Meat Market that run by these Armenian dudes. And they make a mean Italian sub with only boar's head meats, some delicious homemade bakery bread, just fantastic sandwiches, and then they have a delicious potato chip rack. Rocking the Zaps.
Which flavor you rock?
I'm really into the spicy crottators.
Yeah.
Or the voodoo spice ones.
I like
Logan,
the
how do you
the
feel-
extra one, the Voodoo Heat.
Voodoo Heat. Sorry, that's the one. These are all just for you guys out there who haven't encountered Zaps in the wild. New Orleans style, kettle cooked.
Oh, you know who has them?
Delicious
The
potato
sandwich.
chips.
crunches.
There's a sandwich shop in Pasadena that also has them.
Which one?
The one right by the one that we went to that one time, right kind of by where Matt is.
So I think kind of the lesson here is
Oh,
go
they
to your
do. Yeah,
artisan,
Fiore.
your local artisan sandwich shop, and you might spot some Zaps. And so I got another thing though, a healthier snack.
Okay.
I actually tried to make my own this weekend. It'll be done next
Wait,
week.
back up. You made your own snacks
Kimchi.
Did you ferment it for 7 days?
It's fermenting right now.
underneath your backyard?
No, I got a. Apparently, it's a carafe, not a carafe. I got a carafe that I
Yes.
originally, so I filled that bad boy up with some fermented fish oil and cabbage.
Oh,
and
God, this is gonna be
Korean.
so
Yeah,
bad.
it smells really bad in my kitchen.
Let's make some. Tell me when it's ready. We'll make some banh mi's.
What's a Oh, that's not for
That's
kimchi though.
Vietnamese, man.
Yeah, man.
You don't
come
put
get
kimchi
your
on
stuff.
that?
No,
don't
but
know.
so I went to that Asian market in Glendale.
I don't know what I'm talking
So
about.
my whole
No.
thing was I went to Whole Foods and you get like a little thimble of kimchi for like $10. I was like, this is just cabbage. I should just do this myself. So I bought all these ingredients, and then as I was checking out, I discovered this giant vat of kimchi for like the same buck, like $8 for like a gallon of kimchi. So now I'm rocking kimchi like for breakfast and dinner like every day.
It's really
Ew.
good, right?
It's great, and it's a superfood. It's a fucking superfood.
Well,
That's fine.
what
You can
does
have
mean?
it.
You know
that
why?
means
by the way,
thousands of vitamin C.
You know why? You know why kimchi is such a big thing in Korea?
Why?
Because
Prevents fan death.
No.
Just for the people out there, can you explain
Oh, no.
fan death, Freddie?
So Koreans, Japanese, and the Asians believe to varying degrees that being in a closed room with a fan can kill you while sleeping. Like something about
Please elaborate.
the fan is chopping. It's the mechanism of death is not clear, but it's something about maybe the molecules are getting chopped up by the fan blades, or that it's sucking the air out of the room, or what have you. And it's this weird cultural thing where it's like, yeah, don't sleep in the room closed with a fan on because you'll die. Oh my gosh. And ladies and gentlemen, Logan has just tripped over one of our cameras. Okay.
It's good, he says.
But I don't know where it came from. Well, it was one of those things where a lot of Koreans apparently believe that if you're in a closed room and you close all the doors and you turn a fan on and go to sleep, you will wake up dead. You
Well, what
won't
was
wake up at all.
interesting- So my friend, you guys know Ben.
Yeah.
Ben Sherman, who lived in Korea, he was totally flabbergasted by fan death and the fact that like college people still believe in fan death. And his one theory was it was like a way to cover up suicide. Like if somebody commits suicide to prevent the shame of
Interesting.
suicide, you just say they died of fan death.
Interesting.
And just kind of like let it go.
Well, because there were several examples in the news media where people claimed, this person died because of that, which helped then continue to perpetuate that myth of fan death was from that. Was
So,
the news media actually?
Was there
backed
anything
it.
like that growing up, Freddie, for you guys in your household?
Oh, like in terms of like weird Asian superstitions?
Yeah. Jumping vampires.
Asian
Jumping vampire beans.
superstitions. Gosh.
What about the rest of you? Any Aryan ones? You guys?
Aryan?
I'm a Jew,
So, like,
so
Aryan superstitions.
I'm the opposite of an Aryan.
you had like golems or anything growing up?
What? Go golems. Oh, okay.
Oh, Golem.
A golem. No.
Yeah.
No fan death. No, I think I know what my mom actually I think did say once. Like, hey, you shouldn't sleep with the fan on. And I think what she had come to, the other theory for why it kills you is because perhaps your body is more susceptible to temperature changes, therefore
So
it'll
you get
cool you
hypothermia,
to a
extreme hypothermia.
exactly to hyperthermic levels, and you'll die from that.
By the way, like a year ago, did I mention when I was taking? This is probably 2 years ago at this point. We've been podcasting for a while, huh?
Yeah.
When I got into cold showers, ice cold.
Yeah, I
showers,
remember that. Yeah.
I picked it back up again.
Wait, you let go of it at some point?
Oh yeah, I stopped it. Yeah. Actually, you go for about a month, and then one day you're just staring at the shower head for 5 minutes, like dreading turning it on, and you're like, I'm going back to hot showers.
I'll end my showers now with like 30 seconds of
ice cold.
Ice cold.
I hear that's really
Little
good. That's
pick me
good
up.
for you.
So
right?
I get the warm and the slow
benefits.
wake up, and the
Yeah.
scrub and everything, and then it's okay. It's time to start the day. Crank it to ice cold, quick 30 seconds, and I'm out of there.
Oh, see, this
I
is right
take-
before bed.
Yeah, I take long,
Yeah.
luxurious, steaming hot baths constantly.
See, I'm doing that, but like, dude, I'm telling you, like
Like an
it feels like a
Egyptian
work.
god.
It feels like a workout. Like I'm kind of sore afterwards because I'm flexing so hard to try to keep warm.
That doesn't sound healthy.
and I'm definitely like
definitely not
conscious
right.
now because you keep on shutting off the water to do anything that doesn't involve rinsing. Like 'cause you just want to avoid getting hit with more water.
How cold are these showers?
I like literally,
all
especially now, like
Yeah,
during
it's
the
cold
fall,
outside a little bit.
It's cold as hell, man, and like, you definitely even if you turn it a quarter of the way, because I have one of those ones that go from cold to hot as you increase in pressure. Even a quarter of the way, it's still kind of maybe you detect like some warmth. You barely turn it on, so it's just a trickle of ice running down. You
That's
just-
awful.
I love that.
and like the most amazing part is you're like you think you're good, you think you adapt it, and then you turn around to face it, and like, your abs suddenly are just like, ugh, and then you like shrivel into yourself. So it's just like,
No, nothing quite as wonderful as nothing quite as wonderful as also when it hits your head and your skull and you just can't even breathe. You do that like
yeah, I actually gasp into my showers now, like.
Your breath escapes you. Yeah, I know the feeling. Your breath escapes you, and your abs are so clenched it's hard to breathe
but
again.
that's my ab workout for the day. Flex out of it. It's like those. How you ever heard like those Siberian farmers who like burn 6,000 calories from the cold?
Really?
well,
Apparently
that's
the
actually
thing.
one
I
of
heard
the
that from a guy,
the cold. Well, that's the cold.
You're gonna have to check that. Fact check that, John.
No, have you heard about like shiver dieting? Have you heard about this? Maybe
Yeah,
we talked
like that
about
guy who
this.
did like the 4-hour work week and all those other sort of like
Yeah.
hyper efficiency books was talking about like just freezing out your weight.
Yeah, well, just the theory of like your body in the process of trying to keep warm burns more calories because it's working at that. So if you so they did this. I don't know what it was. I think it was like they did a study where it was like people sitting in ice baths for like 2 hours a day. Like
Why don't
ended
you
up
just go
having
for a run at that?
Just go
Yeah,
for
I
a
know,
run.
I know,
Go
I
for
know.
a hot run.
You're just so lazy. You're just like, I'm just gonna sit in this lukewarm ice bath, shivering. The act of shivering being, perhaps a way of burning more calories.
So guys,
Yeah.
because it is getting a little colder, it's getting into the winter season. Maybe it's a little too early for Christmas. I tried to bring up Christmas last time.
It is a little too early for Christmas. We
You
just
brought up
we just
Christmas in October.
Yeah,
That's
just
just you love
wrapped
Christmas
Halloween.
so much.
I know we had
but
some
can we do a Halloween recap?
quick Halloween
Yeah, a little
recap.
Halloween
When did you
recap.
guys dress up?
So I will hold on real quick. I went to have you been there's this thing in LA called
I went to. Have you been? There's this thing.
Have you been? There's this thing.
how am I gonna lead into this
Yeah,
one?
Delusion. And I'm just gonna continue to ignore that. Delusion in LA, which is like a haunted house that's more of a guided theatrical experience that you get
This is
touched.
Neil Patrick Harris's.
He
thing
just
in
put
the
his
big-
name on
He
it.
kind of put his name on it.
It's a
Kind of
bunch
like
of
he
stunt
kind of
guys.
Ridley
Yeah.
Scotted it, to be fair. So it's actually a bunch of stunt guys, exactly, who put together. They take over a house in every year, and they do a whole little narrative thing, and they do stunts in the house, and it was actually really cool. I gotta say,
What was the best stunt?
So you go in as a group, and this is all sold out. So I'm really not spoiling anything for people because you can't go see it anyway if you haven't
And it'll
seen it
be
already.
completely different next year.
And it's completely different next year. So you go into a house, and the storyline this year was it's like a Stephen King-esque sort of writer, and this woman is this writer who hasn't been heard of or seen, and you're a big fan of, you and your group are big fans of her novels. You're going in sneaking in to see like what happened to her in her house, and as you go through it, you meet some of these other crazed fans who are actors who've been trapped in the house, and there's like the monsters from her books have come to life and start to inhabit the house.
Oh, that sounds
and
like
they do a
fun.
lot of cool things because this house is like just this piecemeal old 1920s home that's been like renovated and
Where was
added
it?
on. It's off like Crenshaw, like south of the 10. So it's like this really ramshackle house where there's like all these staircases and just little, basically a shitty house in terms of just how it was constructed, but works really well because it's very maze-like in that way. So you go through it, and you're with your group, and it's like the person leads you, and like you encounter various characters, and there's a lot of they did a lot of group separation. So one of the first things that happens is you go into this room, and there's kind of these weird little puzzle elements. And to be fair, I think they were getting a little
interactive moments.
The interactive moments, and and I'm gonna be totally honest, they kind of rush you right through those interactive moments, which I'm kind of bummed out about. I understand that they need to keep the throughput
It's like a
high.
cheap video game. It's very on the rails with cutscenes, and it's like press X. And
Yeah, it's like very much like, oh, what are we gonna do in this room? Well, look around for a painting. And it's like, that
Do
painting.
you mean
Like,
that
yes,
one
that's
painting
it.
in the room? Oh, you found it.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
And so there's a little bit of like, oh, it's like there's there's a hole there. The skeleton in the paint's pointing at the bookshelf, and the bookshelf's right here, and there's a hole in this. We can find a book. You're like, okay, the book is over there. You're like, I was just looking for it. So you go in, and what was great was what you didn't realize was in the fireplace, what looked like a pile of just like sort of burning embers is actually a human being contorted in this crazy like wood costume, who then gets up with glowing eyes.
Oh, that's
and you're
real
like,
fun.
you rush into the fireplace, and it's like staring at you through the fireplace, and like, you see it through like windows in the back, and like someone needs to take this invisibility potion we've got and then distract it. And so I was like, who will do it? And I was kind of with a group of scaredy cats. So I was like, kind of looked around, like, I guess I will do it. And
I kind of was with a group of security guys.
so I stepped forward, and like, they dropped a little, vial of something kind of sour tasting, and I was like, you're invisible now. I'm like, okay. And I go out and distract it.
Did you
And
do some messed up stuff then?
I just start taking off my clothes and just rubbing myself on things. Just like, good God, what have we done? True horror.
They wouldn't know. They'd have to play it cool.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the actor, that's actually a good point. The actor would have to play it cool, huh? So I go out there, and like I'm sneaking around, kind of hamming up a little bit, to be honest. The goal was to distract it and get it into the other room, and they did this great thing where I get around it, I throw a book on the other side of the room, and it sees it, and then it goes over there. I'm like, haha, I tricked it with my wiles. And I open the door, and as the moment I open the door, there's another person there who just grabs me, and like, I'm like, and like I stumble. I'm like, I think that like I can get away from this, which clearly not. So they did a kind of, to be fair, like, it was overall great. They do like kind of a weird job of some things, like signifying, for example, that at that moment I shouldn't run away, but I did for the next 30 seconds with these two actors then trying to like. I was like, oh, I have to get caught. Oh, right. I kind of have to
Did they actually try to corner you?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, wait, okay, I'm not, okay, I'm supposed to get caught. Okay, I got it now. And then but it was great because they opened the door and you heard everyone in the other room, like, they couldn't, it was like total surprise. And I got pulled away from the group, and I didn't know what happened to them, and they didn't know what happened to me, and I got pulled away from the group, and they had this whole little thing, and they put me at the head of this screwed up dining room table, and they tied me up, and I had my arms like tied to these
Were they stay in
ropes.
character for this, or were
They
they
stayed in
like,
character.
Okay, now you're,
No, they stayed in character. They did one great thing in terms of like setting up, which I'll talk about in a second. But so now I'm at the head of this table in this screwed up dining room situation. There's like creepy music playing, which, by the way, creepy music playing in like everything now, by the way, it's like 1920s, like old, like that's
I blame BioShock.
it's straight up BioShock. It's like BioShock has defined what creepy music is for like I hear it everywhere. Same thing. So it's like
ink spots. It's just like play the ink spots and you're good.
yeah, exactly. So I'm sitting at the head of the table. My hands are tied up to this contraption, which is making my arms wave around because someone's manipulating it. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And they have a guy on stilts come up and start like dancing around the table. And he has a knife and he's like kind of screwing around with my luscious hair and stuff and like kind of creep me out. Maybe I wasn't the right person for this because I wasn't, I was mildly amused. But they do the whole thing and then he disappears. And then what you don't realize is your eyes adjust because you're at the head of the table and they have a light at you, so it's hard to see the other side of the room. As your eyes adjust, you realize that there's someone on the left side of the table that's a dummy, and then someone else that's a human being who's been still the whole time. And then they start to move, you're like, and then like they go under the table when you don't realize it, and then they come at you from under the table. So that was a pretty good scare. But then right before the other group comes in, because they're doing their own thing in the other room in order to get over here, the person who's like dressed up as the fake dummy and is a real person.
Oh, so it was in fact two people.
No, there's a dummy and then a real person who looks like a dummy.
Gotcha. Okay.
The real person then just like leans over and then just goes shh, and it was one of those things where you're like, okay, you scared me. By scaring you first, and then telling you to be quiet, it was almost like this weird social contract where you're like, okay, that's fair. Like, I want them to be scared, so I'm not gonna say anything, right?
Yeah.
Because if they just went first, you might be inclined to like say something.
Yeah.
But because they got you with a scare, you're like, you know what? I want to see this happen to my friends. So I thought that was a really clever way of like kind of enforcing that while staying in character with it. So then they come in, and of course the giant like Stilts guy comes in. They all hide under the table, and the whole time like my hands are being manipulated. So everyone's like, "What the hell's going on with Freddie? Like he's not moving of his own accord, you know?" And the guy's going around the table and slamming the table and stuff. And then the person who they thought was a dummy comes to life, and then everyone freaks out and goes up from the table. They pull me out. They get me to the other side. So the two awesome things that happened. One was there's a room that was like a spider room, like all these spider webs and stuff. And what's interesting then is like for me, I wasn't part of that narrative, but half the people in the group was. So they're like, oh no, don't go here. You know, like they had seen this character earlier, so you had that split in your group. And they had a chain that ran up the wall. You didn't see this, but ran up the wall and over the ceiling. So the guy would come in kind of like weird and then spin around and then literally get yanked up and to the ceiling. So it would look like he crawled up the wall and then started crawling towards you from the ceiling over everything, which was a great effect. Everyone's like, ah, freaked out and went. And then there was another room where you went in, there's just like a little kid in the corner, just like writing. And then that's it. And you're just like, oh God. And he turns around and he looks at you. And then there's a whole thing where he like starts to interact with you. And then his mom comes in and she like separates the group out and forces, people to go over to a certain place. And then half the group goes in a room. And you get you find when you come back out, the kid has like left you a little gift in terms of a blacklight flashlight, and you have to like follow these trails. And it goes around the room, and behind the dresser, you move the dresser, and there's handprints on the wall, and the whole back wall is constructed so it pushes forward like 30 feet. We didn't realize what this room was actually cut in a quarter by this fake wall, and you slide this entire wall back, and it reveals all these like drawings and stuff in blacklight. It's a really, really cool moment.
Oh, that's neat.
You didn't even expect it. It looked like just kind of a regular bedroom. And you're like, oh shoot, this wall goes all the way back. And what's great is by that point, half the group's been separated with the mom.
I hope you were crushing them on the other side.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. No. But they come back and they come back. This is awesome. They come back and they're so confused because they literally left the room. They came back to a totally different room because what happened here?
Yeah.
And I go, no, it's just a thing. And then they had the ultimate things was you got up into an attic area, and they do all these rigging. They do some very stealth rigging for the actors where they'll be like a character will be standing on the stairs. I was like, wait, let me check if it's okay. He'll go up, and as he got up to check if it's okay, they quickly rigged him up. So he comes back down. I was like, it's good. He's like, ah! And then he'll get yanked up straight up, like out of your line of sight because they've been rigging him for that. And you go up to the attic area, and the attic area is great. They do a great lighting effect where you're up in this attic area, and now it's lightning. And what they do is they have these windows out there, and they put the lighting outside the window, so it looks like you're in a thing, and they play the sound effects, and they flash it. So it's almost like a strobe, an intermittent strobe. Yeah. So you get up there, and it's strobing, and you sort of see things, and then they've hidden, a person's been like hiding in black robes, and you just can't see them. And then like the story point happens, and the person just stands up, and all of a sudden there's this figure in the middle of the room, like this robe, like hooded, like faceless figure, and they time it out, obviously, so that everyone's like shying away from her. And then the lightning strike, you see it, and then like there's this moment of black, and then she moves up very quickly, and the lightning strikes again. So they do the ring warp effect. So all of a sudden now she's like 3 inches from the group, and everyone just freaks out. And then when that happens, they hit a stronger strobe. And also what you don't realize, every piece of furniture in this room was attached to wires. So it shoots up and everything starts to levitate in it, which is a great, it hit really well because all of a sudden just like everything starts floating around like, and you get out of there. Overall, really, really cool. Really cool.
That sounds like a lot of neat things.
There was a lot of neat things.
Certainly beats Universal.
I didn't get to do Universal this year.
What did you do?
I had to go home. I had a family emergency. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I hit the old, I've told you about the Niles Haunted House.
That's the one with like the fireman where they smack you with the sponges, right?
They smack you with the wet sponges, which they don't do anymore.
Wait, what is this?
Probably somebody complained about it.
It was a pitch black maze we used to go to when we were kids. It was absolutely terrifying. And a lot of that's no longer terrifying because I'm older. I'm no longer a child. But
I'm a man now.
It's just not the same anymore. There was one cool effect that was absolutely terrifying at the Niles Haunted House this year because it was real and dangerous.
What was it?
You're running through this cornfield and a combine that you do not see, this huge combine outfitted with all these spinning.
That's a farming thing, not the villains from Half-Life, by the way.
Correct. A farming combine outfitted with these giant spinning spires just powers up and starts plowing towards you at full speed, and then you're running from this combine. in real life. You are running away from a man inside of a combine driving at you at full speed.
How fast is full speed?
Absolutely. The thing probably couldn't go any faster than 5 miles and
Do you think if you stood your ground,
3 to 5
you'd
miles.
be game over? Or is it like a chainsaw where they can take off the
Look,
chain?
I am not surprised there isn't a huge accident there next year that they accidentally run someone over with this combine. That's how dangerous and scary and real it was. But, you know,
That'd be
everything else
pretty
is pretty
epic,
lame.
dude. Did you go for a run?
I did.
You run to work now?
No, I went to the gym.
Oh, okay.
There's a gym next door.
Oh, okay. I like the idea of you like running like 20, 30 miles to work.
Well, what Delusion reminded me of was very much a theatrical production called Sleep No More, which is
A theatrical production.
A theatrical
It is.
production
What
called
is-
Asleep No More.
What is it not?
It's
It
kind
is.
of a weird. Yeah, I guess so.
It is.
Who
It's-
talks like
but
that?
it's this
Who are you?
weird. But this is I talk like
It
that.
reminds me of a theatrical production.
It's like Leonard
called
Maltin.
Asleep No More.
What is known perhaps in the
Have you
theater
gone?
community.
You've gone, right? I guess.
Yes, I
I
have.
still have not gone.
I really, really, really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favorite things I think I've ever done.
Man, that makes me
Yeah.
think I should go to New York and try Sleep No More.
It was really cool. And just the level of production design, and it's just kind of this weird push that I've noticed. And it's not
Although,
only
to
happening
be
in
fair,
theater.
Sleep No More is a lot less structured from my
No, it's
understanding, right?
very, very low.
Just so you guys know, Sleep No More is essentially a warehouse filled with these hippies doing a Macbeth as like a dance with masks.
Okay, kind of.
And it's one of those. There's what was the original one like in the 1920s where essentially you can roam from room to room, but the actors essentially have a set path.
Right,
And
so
acting
these
do in each
actors
room,
have
so
a-
And
it's
it just
kinda
keeps
up-
looping.
It loops
Yeah, it
two
loops-
times.
Yeah,
so
and
three
it's
times.
up to you to kind of choose the room, but like there's definitely groupies who go like repeatedly and just hang out in rooms and just make out with strangers.
They
like
are,
that's a thing. Is just
they are
making out with
opening an
strangers.
LA show
Are they really?
right now. Yeah.
Is it just as like Sleep No More, but like downtown?
think
Or
it's
like
like
a
you
different
It sounds like a variation on Sleep No More. It's not going to be
That's great.
it's the same show. They want it to be a separate experience.
You have to wear a mask to get in.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
when you're there, you don't speak and you have a mask, which then has this effect of you being this. It makes you feel very voyeuristic and also free to be very voyeuristic. So you feel like this ghost floating around and just watching this drama unfold in front of you. It's really cool. I like
Yeah,
it.
I got something out of left field. How do you guys feel about Tinder?
That is way left. So I assume you're done with the Halloween recap. You're
No, we
bored
can
with
come
that.
back. I just want to ask.
No,
about
you're
Tinder.
gonna. Are you gonna come back or
Yeah,
are you
we're
done
taking
with
a
it?
break.
Just stick a stake in it.
No, we can come
Like a
back.
vampire.
Let's just ask about Tinder.
You refuse to drop it.
Well, real
Tinder.
quick, what prompted you on
Yeah,
this?
why Tinder?
Just the whole like free to be voyeuristic and,
I see.
and like that whole and it reminded me of John Salmon and his adventures at Sleep No More and then John Salmon like you guys know John Salmon well John Salmon was at least on to the future maybe but he was the
Yeah.
DP for VGHS right like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
your guys
He's been
relationship.
featured on a handful of the VGHS podcasts.
But anyways yeah so John Salmon has just like a very interesting lifestyle when it comes to his love life and his and his adventures
well,
he's a
ask
very
John,
adventurous guy
Ask John Carmen. John Carmen is currently
Tinder
on
dude?
Tinder.
how's that working for you
Yeah, it's
Mr.
more like-
Lyft
it's more-
instead of
here-
Uber?
Well, here's. Oh wow, glad you remember that. It's more. Tinder's more like a thing. It's like a game I play on the toilet, you know, rather than like a full fledged.
Oh man.
some people do Tetris
Yeah,
some
these
people
poor-
eat
poor
their
ladies.
tweets.
These are
Yeah.
human beings, John.
He doesn't poop on them. He's just looking at them while he poops.
Just while he's thinking about him.
Yeah. You know, I would love to be thought of while people poop.
Right. hey, you know what? I remember the first time I saw you. I was taking a huge. Anyway,
Or just relaxing. You know.
just relaxing
man.
on the pot.
Yeah.
There's well, okay.
How many times do you have to yourself, you know?
So this is your toilet game, your bathroom
Well,
game,
it's like you.
That
Here's what happens.
Angry
You-
Birds.
You do a session. You just swipe stuff, and then like every time someone swipes you back, like even though it's supposed to look random, they push the people who swiped you to the front. You know, so like you'll get a match right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like I'll sit down on the toilet, I'll be like, oh, I got a match. Let's check it. Okay. I'm not sure what I was thinking there, and then just
Ew.
so you get to be your most judgmental.
Yeah.
While excreting.
Do you think it's a good thing
I'm
or
not
a bad
judging
thing?
them. I'm
Because
just
there's
like,
no profile that you're looking at, right? It's just the photo.
Well, yeah, there's something to me. There's something kind of interesting about this sort of weird like reductionism. Of,
Wait, really quickly, just in the off chance that somebody doesn't know what Tinder is, could you quickly summarize it like in a sentence?
It's a stack of photographs that
On an app.
of different
It's an app, by
of
the way.
different women or men or both, depending on the settings that you put into it. And it's just like yes or no. Do Do you find this person attractive or not? You just swipe right or left.
And if you
And is
and
it
if-
curated by like my understanding was it's like at least people who are you have Facebook friends in common, or is that did I
you
make
need
that
to
up?
have a Facebook account, and if you are
And
or
Pulls
something
your
like that,
a profile photo straight from your Facebook account.
But
right?
you don't isn't like making sure that it's not total creepazoids or weirdos by like common friends or anything.
No. It definitely. I believe it does. I assume that they check like number of Facebook friends, i.e., a brand new Facebook account with 0 friends is probably highly suspect.
Okay.
On there. And
Freddie,
their
why haven't
API.
you done this, man?
So I have a couple funny stories about it. But
Turns out I did.
well, no, here I'll get into it in a second. But I think there's something interesting about this sort of weird reductionism of human interaction that's kind of slowly taking place, where it's like, you know what, online dating profile, you know what, forget it, just pictures. It's just one picture, yes or no.
It's
Just
quick
get
and easy.
it.
It's like going to a bar. John, has it ever worked out for you though? Like, have you ever been like actually met
Yeah.
with any of the folks? And has it been like a positive experience? Was
Sure.
it like nice?
yeah.
Were they fairly
I
normal?
mean, I've definitely not like fallen in love.
but like as far as like, hey, like we're going on a date.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like you want to go to this concert? Cool. And then I was like,
And by
oh,
the way,
it's
real
fun.
quick, John Karmen's a real connoisseur of LA events. He's always like, "Hey, there's a cool concert. Here's a cool movie," and I'm always like, "I'm sorry, John. I wish I could go with you." to
John
all
Karmen
these
is
really
the LA
cool
Weekly
events."
of my friend.
He is. John Karmen is basically Logan being Logan and John both of you together probably go to and attend more various events in LA than anybody else that we
Try
know.
to slow down. I just watch X-Files now. Just go,
That doesn't sound all that
I
bad.
just go home, eat some kimchi, and watch an X-Files.
Oh, what a sad life.
I kind of love it. That's kind of great.
X-Files is pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah, Mulder's a hoot.
I feel like
That's your description of
I feel like we told these Tinder stories before.
How old are you?
5 stars.
43-year-old Logan Mulder's a hoot.
That's your
I like
Netflix
watching this show.
I don't care for that sci-fi stuff, but Mulder, he's like,
Nah, Mulder, he's a hoot.
So
I did
anyways,
a so the problem that I have on Tinder and really almost any online dating anything is I really can't do that stuff.
Because you get to the point where you ask them on a date and you say, oh, I'll pick you up in my minivan. And
Freddie has a minivan, by the way.
they're gone.
And they're gone. Oh, but real quick, Logan and I went to see a movie a couple weeks ago, and I pulled up on a street, and I beeped my horn. I'm like, "Hey, come on out!" And he came out, and I swear to God, he looked at every car on the street, passed over me sitting in my minivan, just saw right.
It's like he's
through it.
invisible.
And
It's
he's
like
just
you're
like, "Where'd
invisible."
Freddie go?" And then like I rolled down the window, I'm like, "Logan," and he was like, it was like as if a ghost had appeared in front of him. It was like, "Whoa, this is you."
I was like, oh, you must have crashed his car. Like,
Oh, it's you.
that
No.
means you could just like you can pick up a few girls with that.
Yeah, there you go, Freddie.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fully. Yeah. It's one of those things where
Wait, what was that?
6 women he can simultaneously go out with at once thanks to his car.
due to the storage capacity, passenger seat
Or
capacity.
just
of the
people.
minivan.
They don't have to be women.
I mean, you could crab a good 9 in there if you tried.
John, I don't want to talk. No, let's not. No.
wait, so have you,
6
is
okay.
cool.
6 is
Wait,
cool.
but-
Because 6 people will have seatbelts, John, and that's the most important thing is to have seatbelts.
hey, but so really
Yeah.
quickly, you haven't ever tried Tinder, Freddie? But Benji, have you? You're making hand gestures. You have a girlfriend, so you better not talk about this.
No, I've tried it. We've had these talks before.
Okay.
We've gone over the
Benji's
Tinder
like, whoa,
stuff
no,
before.
I didn't do that. No,
well, no, I was saying that I
choose
can't. I feel like I can't use these things. I feel like this out of my.
Have you thought about just like doing a fake picture and a fake name?
Well, because-
Although that's defeats the point of Tinder.
Well, that
which is
completely defeats the point of
image-based.
a lot. Well, but it also completely defeats the point of like, imagine OkCupid, right? Where someone's like message and then it's like, hey, okay, so the picture and the name that I put up was totally fake.
But what
Like,
if you do that
that's- how
stylized thing where you
creep-
don't show a picture of yourself? You show like a picture of your feet on the beach, or like
Doesn't work.
or like a coffee cup stain on
Then it
like,
looks like you're
on like
hiding
a
something.
poem.
Yeah, it looks like you're hiding.
What are you
something.
afraid of?
What are you
I
afraid
think
of?
people do that though, right? Like that's the thing. Like especially if like
Guys
you're, like,
generally
I
don't.
had
if
it.
you're like missing like
I had
like
Tinder
your
like a
nose.
year ago, and I feel like we've had these conversations.
Well, but here's the thing. So I
someone
couldn't.
doesn't have their face on there, they're gone.
Well, but here's the thing. I can't resist the urge to like make jokes with it. Like, and it's jokes that only I would find funny. Like, for example, like a profile where it was like, there's a girl and a dog, and it was like 3 of the same picture of like of the same girl, same dog. And when people message that, I would just respond like woof woof arf as if it was the dog. Like it's like, oh, get it, it's the dog's profile.
That's
It's like,
definitely
likes
some
long
inside
walks on the
baseball.
beach. And yeah, anyway.
You should try it though.
Well, so I had this theory. And
So what
this
do you
is-
do that? Like,
Well, no,
just
but
singles
he's
night?
tried
Like,
it.
how do you meet
Freddie's tried it.
girls then,
I
Freddie?
had a theory. Well, I had a theory on Tinder, which is I think that Tinder is easier and you have a higher success rate if you're a white guy. I think that there's a big race component when it comes to a lot of these messaging and dating apps and things like that. That I think. And again, so what I did was this. So I created over the course of okay, this is gonna sound really weird. Over the course of 3 months, I created a bunch of fake accounts
on Tinder.
on Tinder.
You
with-
actually did this?
Yeah.
Did you share this with anybody?
No, this is just I have a Google Doc where I tracked all this just for my
Okay.
own
Maybe he's, like,
edification.
funded by a
this is
university
the
to do all
premiere
this?
of your of
No,
your
this is
research
okay. So what it was
Yeah.
so I took the most attractive like versions of males in various races, but they needed to be relatively obscure. So I couldn't do like Tom
dicks,
Cruise. So what I did was I would do like so for an Asian, I picked a Korean pop star who's like been voted like the top Korean like pop star for the last like 3 years or whatever it is. For like a European guy, I picked like a European soccer player because I figure, okay, here's a guy who is probably, you know, relatively considered relatively attractive, but for the most part, unknown to a American audience.
LA people, yeah.
Right. So it was that, and then like a Bollywood star, and then and that was as far as I got. So it was Indian, Asian, and a white guy.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm just curious now. Obviously, there's nothing objective about this. There's nothing scientific about this. But I was like, I'm just gonna swipe right. I think 90% of the time, because just in case Tinder has a thing where it sees 100% right swipes as bot-like behavior. So I'm just gonna do 90% of the time, and just see what the response rate is like.
Okay.
And what was really interesting was the white guy far and away, like almost 10 times the responses in terms of mutual matches to it.
Is it done by proximity though?
So I accounted for that. I would log in at different times of day, randomize that, and based on where I was, so I'd be either Burbank or downtown would be the two
Because the other
sort
thing
of
is, I
spots.
presume there's a lot more white people in both those spots.
But I said the surge rate is pretty large. So anyway, so regardless, and I did a sample size of like I think 1,300 because I determined that with the number of females and males in Los Angeles, 1,300 is a statistically significant sample size for like, I think 95%. Whatever. Anyway,
You got pretty hardcore,
I
but
think
what
it's pretty
motivated this? Like, what drove you
I was
to do
really
this?
bored and really
Boredom.
curious about this.
Okay.
So here's what was interesting. So I threw away any responses where people recognized that celebrity or that person right away, because that obviously they're just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like the Korean pop star's on this. And it's like, oh no, sorry.
Not you used the picture, but you are in fact the Korean pop star.
No, I did. It was or the soccer player or the Korean pop star got recognized.
What
more
are
than
the
soccer player.
chances?
Yeah.
In Los Angeles?
What are you doing here? Aren't you playing soccer?
It's off season.
It's off season.
I love LA.
Tough season. Wanna go on a
And by the
date?
way, oh, here was the hardest part. By the way, finding photos of these people. This is again very
That look like candid as
that look
opposed to like
candid
headshots.
photos, as opposed to them at like some press junket for some European
Yeah.
soccer tour or like some
I don't think there's
carpet
anything
photos.
wrong with using a headshot for your you use a headshot, like a sweet airbrush photo.
I'm not an actor. I don't have a headshot.
So anyway, okay,
Still
so,
get like, one of these guys to hit you with a DSLR and Photoshop.
Yeah, we should do that.
teeth and
We need
stuff.
to. That's what we need to do. We need to beef up John Karmen's profile.
If
That's
I
what
was
it
to
is.
do
Photoshop
that,
his body, give him a really big V.
Yeah. The
That-
deep
that-
V.
Drop big
Basically,
V, like
the
the
deep V, yeah.
V.
that means that everyone on Facebook will see an influx of sexy tagging myself photos.
Right.
just do
being
the
uploaded.
shirtless, and we'll use that
Everyone's
burn
gonna
and
know-
dodge
everyone's
tool
gonna know
to
on
give
this
yourself
journey
a
with us,
six
John
pack.
Everyone's gonna
Karmen.
know I'm on Tinder if I do that. They're like, "Why is he doing? He's clearly trying to beef up his profile. I can't do that."
so here's the funny thing, right? So
Can't do
Korean
Can't beef up my prof.
Can't
Korean
can't
pop
do it.
star, super easy to find photos because they take pictures of themselves with their phones all the time.
Okay.
And you can find on social media. European soccer player, I couldn't find any because it was all like on the pitch and like until I was like, wait, hold on. Fan photo with him, and then I found a whole bunch of stuff where it's like people were like, oh, and I was like, okay, that could be his mom he's taking a picture with and stuff. So I got it was a German soccer player that I found. Anyway, so what was interesting was the white guy got 10 times the responses as any of the other profiles of the very small sample size I did. But more interestingly, the diversity of the responses was pretty close to just the overall Los Angeles race demographics. So it
okay.
was a pretty even spread
Yeah.
across. The Asian guy had one out of, I think it was again 10 times less, so it's not as much, but it was one white person, and then everyone else was either black or Asian. was the response for that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting because I mean, again, it doesn't say anything. I'm sure there's all this kind of stuff, but I think that the way I thought was this. It was like, look, if this Korean pop star can't this guy who is universally adored by his entire country for being attractive can't sling it in the dirty streets of Los Angeles, what hope do I have here?
And you got to play with some of the other
app?
variables. So here, your Photoshop skills are pretty good.
I had to have a series of Photoshops with you back in college that were pretty funny.
Yeah, those are actually pretty good. Yeah. So you should take that soccer player and start doing some Photoshops to him. Play with some of the other vectors. So one thought,
interesting, yeah.
face tattoos. Do face tattoos.
Like just a tribal face tattoo.
Give him the Tyson and see
if it affects any of the rates there.
Yeah,
So the problem is
yeah.
I lost interest in this after about a couple
or
months.
give him
of
high
doing it.
cheekbones, just or salad
It's like different types of facial hair. Like what is the statistically most significant facial hair?
yeah, or different like hairstyles or hats. Like you could sky's the limit, man.
Did you ever go on an actual Tinder date, Freddie?
No, never.
No.
Using those pictures,
No,
show
just-
up and be like, it was a
No,
joke.
before you got bored with your own profile and created all these fake
none,
ones.
None.
Yeah.
No hits whatsoever.
None?
None.
Stop.
No. 100%
Oh,
serious.
Freddie.
You should do one of those. What are the speed dating?
Not a
You should
single
do some
match.
speed
Wait,
dating.
wait.
On Tinder, no.
Get out.
How hard did you really try? Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm not obviously not
5 minutes.
I'll put it this
Yeah.
way.
Freddie swiped
It's a
10 times. He's
commit-
like, it doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I-
conducting a study.
I gave myself the fit.
Well, something's amiss.
Well, basically, here's the funny thing, right? I was like, before I sink any more time into this experiment, let me just test the statistical likelihood of me getting anything by testing a hot Asian pop star. Okay,
You know-
and then cut to 2 months later. Well, I've determined that this is a waste of my time.
I think you should have still
Well, maybe
tried. You
because
could
you
just
just
do
weren't
casual
conducting the
while
right
pooping.
experiment. The experiment.
It
The
could've been.
statistical likelihood is you creating a rad profile
if
and,
you
and trying to match up
If
with
you
girls.
spent the amount of time you did doing the study just like swiping people as
Trying to
you,
meet people?
you would fucking have
you would have found
matches.
somebody.
Dude, come on.
It was.
That's what we
And-
need to do. John, you're off. You're done. You already said you don't want the sweet pictures
the-
on your
the
Facebook
makeover?
anyway. Logan, we're beefing up Freddie's Tinder profile.
Let's do some beefing.
We're gonna beef it.
Last
beef
time we
Freddie.
tried.
Freddie's getting beefed.
Beefing
mean-
Freddie.
Freddie and the beef.
Does beef as a verb have any other meanings?
Yes,
Probably.
a
I
few.
think so.
A few.
I'm pretty sure it does.
All right. Hey, speaking of beef, that reminds me of turkey. Turkey Day is coming up.
Oh my god.
Nice segue. That was-
That's, ladies and gentlemen, world class segue from Logan Olson.
How you guys doing anything special for Turkey Day?
No, actually, I
turkey-
need to figure
turkey
that
day?
out. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet.
You guys
You
going
normally
back to
do a
visit
thing
your folks?
at the place with the friends.
Dude, well, here's the funny thing
was
about
like,
my
no.
folks. Well, here's the funny thing about my
Alone.
folks.
I'm alone.
I was like, I texted my mom. I was like, hey, where are you guys at? And my mom's like, we're in Korea. Didn't you know this? I'm like, what?
They didn't even tell you.
Well, they did, but I guess I must have. This is how good of a person I am. I
You
just,
talk to them once a week? Like
I
a
do.
good kid?
And when I was
Okay.
like, I was calling back, and they're like, we're in Korea right now. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay. You're not gonna be home for Thanksgiving, right? She's like, no, we're in Korea.
Wow, so you got to go it alone.
I don't know what to do.
Which Korea?
South Korea, John. Jesus.
I had to ask. Sorry.
But Dez, you're going back, right? You're gonna go back to South
No,
Bend?
not this Thanksgiving.
How come?
Work stuff.
Not really.
Logan, wait, Logan, let me ask you something. How busy is
He's a
Disneyland?
piece of shit.
How
Disneyland, Thanksgiving, it's busy.
Really? Is it?
Benji and I and our brother Alex did a Disneyland Thanksgiving a couple, 2-3 years ago.
Crazy busy?
Insane.
Really?
But was there
Insane.
like some fun like pilgrims riding a boat or something?
What are you talking
What?
about?
Like was there like a fun Thanksgiving specific event?
At Disney? No, it was just a thing to do. We thought, hey, it's a holiday. Maybe there won't.
They don't have like a
there won't
Turkey
be
Day
anybody
parade
there.
or something?
No, it's just Disney. Everything. There's nothing.
Oh, it's just crazy
Thanksgiving
busy,
themed.
huh?
Some stuff is still Halloween themed at that point, and it's like this weird dovetail of Halloween into Christmas.
You guys, if you're not gonna spend time with your families, I think you should rock the Black Friday super hard.
Just spend time with good old American consumerism.
Just go to Best Buy and Walmart and just like really rock it.
Maybe I'll go to Bed Bath and Beyond.
Yeah.
Pick up
yeah.
a couple of things.
Get
for
some
the kitchen.
get some down comforters.
Yeah,
It's that time of
Yeah.
year. How many down comforters you putting on this year? 3?
yeah. Why not?
You're gonna
it really depends on those
you're
big
gonna
Black
triple
Friday
down,
sales.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple down.
What
yeah.
are you doing? Are you going home?
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, not home anymore because my folks moved to Arizona.
That's right.
So we're gonna fly out to Arizona it's gonna be the first time that I travel on Thanksgiving Day ever my entire life.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Is that bad?
I
Is it
did it
rough?
once.
Well, no, not the day. I think the day leading
before, right? Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
This is even the day after. I had to drive back to San Francisco for a job.
Just probably
man,
gridlock,
that was
right?
bad. That was
Yeah, yeah,
so
I know.
bad.
That Friday?
Yes.
But we're gonna have a Thanksgiving in the desert, man, like with the goats, and we got like two or three new
On your
dogs.
patch of desert?
On our patch of desert, man.
We were just pitching your patch of desert story the other night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we pitched it to Mike over here.
Really? Was Brian there somehow?
No, Brian wasn't there. I don't remember how it came up, but we got to the point where
The guy's jogging at them from like 40 miles
no,
away.
we pitched
Wait,
that.
I don't
we
think
pitched
anyone's
the
heard this.
sex
Could you-
thing.
Can you pitch patch of desert?
No. I want you
That's
to pitch
you.
patch of
Pitch
desert.
us
Well,
Patch of desert.
Brian was the real pitcher. I just provided the patch of desert.
I told you guys I would produce it for $100. I said I'll give you $100. We'll go shoot it on your patch of desert.
Tell you what, Logan, right after the break here, you're going to pitch us Patch of Desert. All right.
There's a break.
Yes, we're taking a break right now.
Why are we here?
What's your end game?
What do you want?
I want video game high school.
Look, being a teen is hard, I guess.
Hey, dude. How are you?
But damn it, grow up.
But shut up.
Did the school get bigger or did we get smaller?
Looks like the same old VGHS to me.
He hasn't realized that I'm a sociopath who cares more about video games than people.
He needs Babbage's blade to win the election.
But it's a two-man quest.
Fine, but I'm still not talking to you.
Everybody,
You remember the law, don't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, poners and zoners, today is the day.
Let the games begin.
You came here to bathe in the blood of your enemies. To game with the best of the best. You got one last chance to do that. Now who's with me?
We can do this!
You fools seek Babbage's blade.
Where do we go?
Many have died in pursuit of that wretched blade.
Skip.
I and my knife
skip,
rode,
skip.
seeing nothing but death,
Skip.
devastation, ash under a sky.
Skip it.
And we're back. By the way, stalwart American citizen, podcast recording engineer Alex Reed has informed us we're already 50 minutes in, so this is we'll just pitch the thing. I thought we were halfway through.
Give us the
We're
log
wrong.
line.
Log line.
Well, I mean, so for those of you who don't have any context, Patch of Desert was my folks bought their 40 acres of desert.
And real quick, Logan, for the next month after telling people that, endured every single one of his friends saying, and the mule?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Google it if you don't understand that.
I'm
Learn
sure
some history.
a lot of our fans probably don't.
Yeah,
get the
Google
reference.
40
You
acres
should look that up.
and
Yeah.
you'll get it. You'll learn some history. But anywho, yeah. So like when we got that patch of desert, there was literally nothing on it. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's very close to the Mexican border in Arizona. And Brian Ferenzi, who I guess was never on this podcast and is now in England, got really into the idea of doing a horror film called Patch of Desert, which is about a bunch of like one of the teenage. It's pretty much the initial part is based on reality. It's like, hey, my parents got a patch of desert, and legally there's no laws on this patch of desert, so we could do whatever we want. So
Cut
all
to
these
road trip party
all
music.
these high schoolers go and get crazy in the middle of the desert, but there's a slasher killer per most of these horror movies. But his whole conceit is there's nowhere to hide in a patch of desert, right?
Right.
So you see him coming from like 40 miles out, and he
And
just
what are you gonna do? Nothing.
nothing. And so he just come jogging at you, and his kills are always he doesn't break stride.
Does he have knives for arms?
Yeah, describe the walk if you.
Oh, is there a walk? You
Maybe
guys
we
added to
invented
it.
that.
It's like a T1000. It was like a T1000 run.
So it's
Dan,
Oh yeah. So
Dan Johnson.
Well, yeah. It's a very like
This is kinda
Terminator
taking on
2
its own
esque.
thing.
I feel like it has
Arms.
its.
blade arm.
I feel like
Blade
there's been
arms.
this huge game of telephone of friends pitching other friends.
It's literally been alive for 10 years. As
your
long
original
as I've been
idea,
friends
and
with
it's,
people.
it's
yeah.
transformed itself into a.
But
actual
I want to hear
movie
the
now.
original. Keep going. So this guy's running at you now. This group of friends is sitting there partying.
But the whole, I mean, that's basically the whole conceit. And so he'll always run by you, do the kill, and keep going. And that's it.
That's it.
But the thing that really kind of makes this movie for most people is, to Dez's point, you want to do the sex kill that Brian Frenzy came up with. And that was kind of like the pinnacle of Patch of Desert. I mean,
would
honestly,
rather not pitch that sex kill.
Huh?
I would rather not pitch that sex kill. You know,
I
there's
I have a girlfriend now and a professional
very
career.
elaborate and gory kill, unlike any I've ever seen before, where an individual is severed in a not so convenient.
Well, multiple. It's like a turducken kill.
It's like a turducken.
Yeah,
if you can figure that out.
Have you guys ever done the turducken?
No, mm-mm.
No, have you?
No, I heard there was
Subject change.
I heard there was this one.
Logan's done with his pitch.
over like a not so convenient.
Logan, I have a question. How does that movie
Dez Dolly is
end?
Vincent Price.
The pitch always gets to that awesome kill in the tent, and then we've never heard anything beyond that.
I think what your best bet is, honestly, if you remember right after this podcast, go email Brian Ferenzi and ask for what the end was. Because as far as I know, the only person who had this like
No, we've
like,
heard you guys
flesh
have
out
written
in
the
his
script.
brain.
You guys written
No.
the script? No.
Yeah.
I like that we know more about
exists
Logan's
entirely.
movie than Logan does.
No, you're right. No, you're right. Because so there was
a Dogma 95 like set of movies
And then-
reproduced for $1,000 and written in IM comics.
there was a
How do I know this?
point. There was a point in time. There was definitely a point in time. I don't know if Brian was bored or what, but like he'd be like, "Hey Logan, what's up?" And then he would just write a whole movie in a G chat. Like I'd be away from the computer for the entire thing. I'd
You'd come back and he'd written a script.
and there'd just be everything, and the whole thing from beginning to end. I'd be like, "That's pretty good."
That's pretty good, man. You should do that. Good luck. I gotta go.
But we gotta email him, and he probably knows what the end was. He'll probably give you like a whole.
If there's a
whole
script, we
thing.
should put it up.
There you go.
We
At
should
the
do a
very least, you could
table
do
read.
you could do a table read of the IM
Oh,
conversation.
that
Hey
would
man,
be
what's
awesome.
up? Not much. You want to go to Damon's tonight? Nah,
Yeah.
I'm busy. But I was thinking.
That is brilliant.
Or actually, back in the day, have we ever talked about Bratson in '95? That's probably like my favorite Brian Friend.
yeah,
The Brats 95, yeah.
Bratson in '95, or when he left to. When
I've
Brian
done a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, when Brian left to England, the way we sent, like literally the last time I saw him before he moved, was we did one last Bratson in '95.
Which was
we did Johnny Mnemonic.
Why don't you what is Brats in 95?
Bratson in
in
95. Back in the good old days, back when we could actually handle doing this, was we would buy a Costco-sized thing of brats for just Brian and me, cook like 8 brats.
And a huge jar of
literally-
sauerkraut.
Literally an entire jar of sauerkraut. And then we just, and by the way, while we're cooking these brats, we're just down. Usually it was
Drinking
also, it was
scotch.
usually Margarita Monday, actually.
Oh.
It was either Margarita Monday or Old Fashions. And so we're just drunk, cooking bratwurst. And like, they're catching on fire and stuff. So they're usually like raw on the inside and burn on the outside. And then we just eat 8 brats each. Usually we haven't slept either. He was working really long hours. And so we'd eat, and then we'd turn on the 95er, which was always a cyberpunk movie from 1995. And then we'd fall asleep within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Because by that point,
We'd
you'd
have
drink
like,
so
we
much.
usually had like 3 to 5 margaritas and 8 bratwursts and a jar of sauerkraut. So we'd get through the credits and then all pass out. And then we wake up at the very end and be like, well, that was all right. Go home.
Yeah.
But the best part was David Welch would always come over. He'd be like, yeah, join you. I don't want a brat. Not good. I don't need to drink. And so he'd just be there by himself watching this movie while we were passed out. I guarantee we were farting. Like, it's like we had a whole jar of sauerkraut. So we're just farting, passed out dudes. David would just be sitting there.
That was the last time you did that with Frenzy?
No, yeah, it was just me and Ferenzi. And
Johnny
but
Mnemonic?
but because, we're not who we used to be, like you'd have like this time we still fell asleep, but it was after like half a beer, like just half a beer and like 1 brat, and we were both knocked out cold.
I think I came over for 2 of those, and I was so drunk I cannot remember what we even watched.
Well, the best part was it wasn't like it was convenient to get to my house. I literally lived half an hour away through a swamp marsh on the beach.
Oh yeah, you
Like
lived
in the middle of Endor.
Endor.
Yeah. That was some people literally drive like an hour to get to my place and then just fall asleep on my couch after drinking. That was literally their time. Drive to a place to fall asleep. So, anyways,
Benji's giving us the 5-minute sign, but it was upside down.
but we should
Upside down.
but we should get the end of Patch Desert from before.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll
that.
save the end for the table read.
But yeah, so that's where I'm going to the Patch Desert for Turkey Day. And I'm sorry you
bring
guys.
that all the
I'm
way
sorry
back.
you guys aren't going to visit your folks. But
I was
before
just
Turkey Day,
home. So.
As far as the Halloween recap, I also went to haunted. We're gonna go like
It's just like stepping back to where
what was
we
that
began?
movie called? Inception. We're gonna incept our way all the way back to the van going off the bridge right now.
You probably did a whole cornucopia of Halloween events. What was the best?
You know, the best was there was 2 contenders, and contenders.
Yeah.
And one of them, there was 2 haunted experiences. One actually was with David and Dan, and it was the community, like the Theater of Horrors in Pasadena, right next to where you live.
Yes.
Des.
Yep.
Do you go?
It's a block away. I
go?
did not get to go this year. Like I said, I was out of
great.
town.
It was great because it's just like
This
it's
year was a
literally-
haunted mortuary.
Yeah, it's like a community event. So what that means is like it's essentially community theater where it's like old people, kids, everybody's spooking. Great gags, really fun, and I love that under a certain age they just pile them into all in one room.
Yeah.
And so you got like a fairly normal haunted house of varying ages, and then they dump you into a cemetery filled with 4-year-olds pretending to be zombies.
Oh, that's
And it's
I
adorable.
went last year, and it
That's
was,
It was
awesome.
great.
Adorable.
So
It was
much
just
fun.
so cute. And then the other one, Alone, is one of the solo experiences. It's actually a response to blackout, which is where I had to suck that guy's nipple, if you remember that.
I don't remember
And,
that. And that
well, we
sounds
can
like
talk
an
about it.
incredible story.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the lone experience that's supposed to be like the most extreme haunted house. And that
Was you sucking a man's nipple?
no, that was only one part of it. That's just the
was
part.
that the
that's-
only part?
That's the
is-
part people. That's the part people remember. Like,
Thank
if
you
you're-
for your $60. Suck on my nipple for
this is
half an
this is the
hour.
one where they like make you take off all your shoes and they like drench you in water and like shove stuff in your mouth
Yeah.
and smack you around and bury you alive with naked people.
Sounds
and
awful.
It was actually kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if you have a brother, like
You've experienced
you've
this.
experienced most of it. if you've been to
Except for the nipple sucking.
if you've been to a dentist though, like you're used to like, hands checking out your teeth. And if you have a brother, you're used to like people smacking you in the face. So that was pretty much all it was. But these people went to that one and were like, we can do this way better, obviously. And so they made Alone, which actually was more Sleep No More. What I imagine Sleep No More is, where it's not really spooky, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
Except for the way they transition you from like essentially surreal scene to surreal scene by yourself is by somebody sneaking up behind you, bear hugging you and be like, get to the fucking room, and throwing you into the next room.
That's
Outside of that, just kind of strange in a fun way, like very like Lynchian. Like you end up like in a diner with essentially like the girl from The Ring, and she like crawls around and like turns on music, and then you just like hang out and like trade messages with each other before she makes you like crawl through it like a whole lot of crawling. And the highlight was probably here was the highlight. So you do a lot of strange stuff, like this lady, like this mime lady runs up to you and rubs a microscope all over your face and like points at different parts of your pores. Like the microscope's displayed on a video monitor, and then like a fawn runs up to you and like paints her face, and then you hang out with Ringu lady, and then at some point you think you're done.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, great. And by the way, this is like on the cusp of gentrification, like tent city on one side, lofts on the other sort of area. And they're like, great. They dump you in an alleyway, and they're like, this guy's like, all right, you're gonna go down, take a right, another right, and you'll be back where you started. I'm like, okay.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah,
I
you
like
heard
that.
about this?
I like
No,
that.
Dan told
this
you?
is awesome.
No, I like this. I've
love
always
this-
had this idea
this
of
concept.
making you feel like you're done.
The house is over.
They did it. They did it. And so
There was a Nathan For You episode that
I heard
does this.
Yeah, and
It's
so
great.
you're in the you're walking on a normal sidewalk, and this homeless guy's like, hey, tall homeless guy, by the way. He's like, hey, you got some change, man? I'm like, sorry, man, I actually don't right now. And he's like, oh, and then he gets like really aggressive, like verbally abusive and aggressive, and like, why are you on my street? And like blah blah blah. And like I was definitely like 70% sure this is part of the experience. 30% maybe not. this can get really bad really quickly. And so I'm power walking. I'm like, I'm just going to take a ride up there. And then he's like, you think it's done? It's not done. And then this guy blindsided me, grabbed me and threw me back into a building and then started back up again.
That's sick.
Oh.
And
I like
it
that.
started back up again. And it was just like a lady sitting there in a sparse room with a lamp. And she kind of looks and there's another door. And by the way, this entire experience is just low frequency white noise, by the way. Just and so, that kind of made it feel like Mulholland Drive the entire time. But you go into the next room, it's an identical version of the room you were just in.
That's cool.
Yeah, combined the same lady sitting there, so it's kind of like you just looped. And then,
that's cool.
There's some neat stuff in it. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
That sounds great.
So highly
The one
recommend
thing I
along.
had time for when I was here in LA was the haunted hayride.
How was it this year?
It was not good at all.
I'm glad I didn't go.
It was so bad.
Sorry, man.
Big waste of time.
Well, there you go, everyone.
There you go.
Well, no, is that it?
Freddie's like, that's it. We're calling it. Big waste of time. That's it. We're calling it.
The tagline of the Facerocker Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. We're done.
I think we're done. I think a big waste of time, actually, probably.
Okay. Hey, just really quickly, what's your guys' favorite video game to play right now?
All right, let's go around and let's finish this up. Logan, why don't you kick us off?
I'm really into Ho-Ho-Cum right now. I think that's how you say it.
What are you talking
Ho-Ho-Cum? Ho-Ho-Cum? Ho-Ho-Cum?
All right.
What the hell are you talking
Keep
about?
saying it
What?
for 30 seconds.
Just keep saying it, and then we'll just magically know what you're
John
talking
Karmen?
about.
It's wait, really quick. I want to tell you about
Freddie,
it.
you got me into papers, please. I'm really impressed.
Wait, you guys don't know what Ho-Ho-Cum is?
No.
It's this game. It's like if Flower was 2D and in the style of Yellow Submarine.
Oh, that's
and you
cool.
just float around as sweet music plays and as a giant snake and just tickle different vector graphics and they wave at you and it's just cute and relaxing and just A+ for the PlayStation.
Just
I'm
A+.
playing a lot of League of
A+.
Legends, and also there's a iPhone game called A Dark Room that I actually quite enjoyed.
A dark room.
Oh yeah, that's cool. It's a text one, right?
Yep.
Wait, it's an actual text game?
Yeah, but it's
clever.
You see a gorp
it's very
go south?
It's very
Just-
meta,
just-
and it's it turns the whole experience of playing it into a sort of almost a literary experience.
It's interesting.
almost.
It's interesting.
Okay.
Des?
All I've had time for recently are playing office games. Mario Kart 8.
Ah,
That's what's been going around.
there you go.
There you
All
go.
right,
Those
I'm
are your games
terrible.
for
We gotta wrap this up,
There's
guys.
going to be Amazon links to all those games.
That's not true.
No.
That's not true.
Stop
Please, by the way, if you haven't, head on over to podsurvey.com/facerocker. Please fill out our survey. Help us out. We're picking 3 people to give away rad prize packs to. We'll buy Steam games. We'll buy 3 people Steam game of their choice and hook them up with a bunch of RocketJump swag. So
Will you match their prizes with other prizes for other people?
no, podsurvey.com/facerocker. Logan, as always, a pleasure to have you on board.
Thanks, guys.
John Karmen, Dez Dolly, and
And
Freddie
thank you,
Wong.
Freddie.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on board.
This was fun. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Woo! Burn out.